so many people do that, and here's the problem. Let me hover over you. Let me make you feel like you can't possibly make a decision. Let me make you so afraid of making a mistake and ever screwing up in the slightest way. And then here you go do it. What do you think happens?
The flip to that is, over time, giving them the reins, and they make decisions and they make mistakes, and that's fine. But then they come with these basic things that there's no reason they should even be asking me the question they're asking me. And maybe that is a fear culture. I don't feel like I'm that person, but my children once define me as ruthless. So if my own children think.
And then when you roll their head back out of the water.
Right. Yeah, right. I was just thinking the same thing.
Hi, this is Perry Belcher. Welcome back to the Train Wreck Podcast with this episode of Fuck Your Business with Emma Rainville, the Cruella de Vil of marketing, and Perry Belcher. I'm just kidding. With Emma Rainville, the immovable object of operations, and Perry Belcher, the unstoppable force of sales, marketing, and all things awesome. Yeah, that's it.
Together we equal growth. Let's go.
Yes. She's a water sign. I'm an earth sign. Together we make mud.
I'm pretty sure I'm fire.
Whatever. All right. So today we've got on our episode of Unfuck Your Business, Jeanette Sims, one of our driven members, a long-term friend, and somebody who's been in the business she's in a long time, which may be part of her problem. And we're going to talk today about why she feels like at least part of her business is flawed. Jeanette,
give us the 4 to 5 sentence overview of what your business is and what you need us to unfuck for you today.
Okay. Well, hey, y'all. Thanks for having me on Unfuck Your Business, because I love it. I'm surprised I didn't come up with it first. My business model, I've been in my industry, which is Ben Pub, since 2001, and my business right now is twofold. It's marketing, a marketing agency, all digital, for gurus in the financial publishing space. And then it's also affiliate marketing. And so we have a little boutique operation where we run several gurus through our entire process. We put everything in place for them, from making sure they know the numbers all the way up to building their webinars and sometimes even hosting their webinars. So it's sort of a full gamut, one-stop shop, depending on what the guru's needs are for their particular business. It's all digital. It's all email marketing, live and die by the list, live and die by the leads. And the reason that I'm here is there's 2 big problems, and it's hard to say the first problem because I know it's me. I know I'm the problem, but I'm going to start with staff.
Yes, let's talk about them. Blame that damn staff.
He's been blaming staff since I met her 2 years ago.
It's me, but
we met with her and her son in Vegas. I don't know if you remember.
I already got away with it too. It
was 2 years ago, January 16th. So I just want to remind you, is this the same staff, Jeanette?
A couple of changes since then, but not really.
Is your staff going to see the spot?
I don't care. Do you care?
Staff's one big problem. Scalability is one big problem with traffic. Those are my 2 big problems.
Okay. Why is staff a big problem? Let's start there.
Me, I'm the problem. It's me, in the words of the great Swiftie, T Swift. Who's T Swift? I think it starts with lack of accountability and lack of process. Even though I have the process, I've given them the process, making sure that they're following the process every single time and cookie cuttering it where there's not the same hiccups we have over and over and over and over. And I feel like I have this A team that are acting like a bunch of fucking C's. And
that's because of leadership.
When I say I'm the problem, I really believe it's me. I don't.
So what are you injecting into this that's causing that, Jeanette?
What?
If I have an A-list team and they're performing like a bunch of C-level players, generally, I can say one of a few things is happening. One, they're being micromanaged and they feel like they can't make any decisions, so they don't care. 2, the morale is terrible because the company culture sucks. 3, they have no ability to do their job because their job constantly changes and becomes a moving target, so they can't win anyway. Or 4.
It was A, B, C, and 4.
Did I do that? Did I do that?
A, B, C, and 4.
Your dementia is rubbing off on me. Okay, so
Clearly, I'm pretty sharp-minded because
So-
I don't go from alphanumeric to numeric.
no, you in the middle of a story, stop telling the story and tell a new story. Okay, so
But I always leave it.
So D, excuse me, or D, I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, or D, they're not being compensated correctly. They haven't gotten the right trajectory of pay raises on, or it may not even be compensation monetarily. It may be verbally. I don't know.
Recognition.
But generally recognition, I'm going to take all the credit for what my team has done. That's a big one.
That's Emma's job.
What's my job?
Nothing.
I never take team credit.
You take credit for everything everybody in the world does.
I take credit for the things that you do because you don't do any darn. So, Jeanette, tell me, does that any of that resonate or sound familiar or sound like it's happening in your business? I just can't.
All of it. So, micromanage, yes. But I think it also comes back to, I did that to a point and then sort of let the reins go once I felt like everybody knew the job. And
Here's the problem.
Making decisions.
Here's the problem with that. So many people do that, and here's the problem. Let me hover over you. Let me make you feel like you can't possibly make a decision. Let me make you so afraid of making a mistake and ever screwing up in the slightest way. And then here you go do it. What do you think happens? You've taken away and stripped everything.
You've read the remit. You've read the E-Myth Revisited, I'm sure 100 times because it's probably been recommended to you by everybody you've ever talked to.
Everyone who's ever talked to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the flip to that is, over time giving them the reins and they make decisions and they make mistakes and they make decisions, they make mistakes, and that's fine. But then they come with silly things that I feel like that shouldn't even be a question. That's basic things that there's no reason they should even be asking me the question they're asking me. And maybe that is a fear culture that I feel like I don't feel like I'm that person, but my children wants to find me as ruthless, and so my own children. So if my own children think I'm ruthless.
And then when you pull their head back out of the water.
Right. Yeah, right. I was just thinking the same thing. When you let them stop bobbing for the apple.
Bobbing for French fries with Jeanette. Yeah, I'm guilty of everything you're saying, right? And I don't manage people anymore, which is the only solution for me. I can't manage people. I can, but I don't do it well. And one of the things that when people want to be held in such high esteem, right, especially by their teams are like, oh my gosh, he's so smart and he's so perfect. When we're all fucked up, right? Every one of us. That I better not do that because I might be making a mistake. We'll have people that either don't do things because they make mistakes, or they make a mistake, we make them feel stupid, or they ask a question, we make them feel stupid. So guess what? They don't ask more questions, and then they go do a thing. There's such a pendulum swing between she's right. I'm going to micro, and then I'm going to swing over here, and now you're on your own. Good luck. And then my guess is, and you probably won't agree with this, but my guess is when they fuck it up real good, you swoop back in and fix it and save the day, yeah?
They might not even be fucking up real good, but if I don't like it...
Yeah, you're going to swing back in.
Change that instead of just letting them...
Yeah, you're going to swing back in and save the day. So,
this is why he doesn't talk to our staff, by the way.
Yeah, so you get to put on your superhero cape, fly in and fix it all and say, look at that. Look what I did. I used to do that on purpose. I would say, look, I've been trying to build these websites for 3 weeks. So I'm going to sit on my couch on Saturday. I'm just going to build them all by myself just to show you fuckers on Monday that you're dipshits. And guess what? I win. Now I get to show them they're dipshits.
And you get to work all weekend and nobody's doing shit.
And you know what? Next week, they're like, holy crap, we're dipshits. We fuck up everything.
That's
so
not true.
Why are we even here?
Let's just put together the simplest template. He's going to do it on the weekend.
Yeah, he's going to redo it over anyway. It's like with Emma's husband, Gabe is an awesome guy. But he's got everything in its place, very much everything in its place. And the other night,
we're in my house. That's why.
And I was doing the dishes, and I'm like, I'm going to put these in the dishwasher, and I know Gabe's going to come in and rearrange how I put them in the dishwasher. So I don't. It's like
that's why I don't do dishes.
Sometimes you won't help because you know they're going to read it. Well, when you're like that, and then you're breeding that culture of dependency. That you're going to do it. She's going to do it her way anyway. And a lot of times you may not know it, but you got a way you want it done, especially a pivot in your mind that you haven't shared with them, and you expect them to come up with it, what you can come up with because you have...
Or you didn't relay it right in the first
You have a good deal of experience, right? And it's faster a lot of times just to do it than it is to teach it and do it, or let them even watch while you do it.
100%. I do that with the copywriter.
Yeah.
I said what you just said.
And they're no better the next time that thing happens than they were the first time. So, but all that's bullshit at the end of the day. What's happening in the business? Are you not getting more clients? Are you not getting more leads for your clients?
Or can you just not deliver because of the team issues? Team issues will cause you.
Oh yeah, they will. But but that's a symptom to the. Well, that may not.
No,
be,
that's usually
that may be the cure to the problem. What are the symptoms?
Usually the symptom to the disease of a bad team is you can't deliver well to clients, so therefore you have horrible retention. Your chargebacks and refunds, your reputational damage. That's what I assume is happening. Is that right?
No,
Okay.
not at all. Not at all. The clients are happy. They love my team. They think they are always available, always there, doing all the things right.
Holy Street doesn't like them.
Or rarely get a client fussing about something the team did that upset them.
So what's the pain that you're feeling over the whole thing?
It's like a glass ceiling thing, right? Of we deliver to a certain level, and right now I do not have the confidence to go and get another client, because I know that if I do, that is going to create a shit ton of work for me, because if they are fumbling the ball with just the level we have,
Do you want either?
No, it just sounds familiar. It just sounds familiar. So your lack of confidence in the team is the same reason for the last 2 or 3 years I've been kind of stagnant, and now I'm growing well again.
But all my clients love my team and think my team's amazing, just not me.
Yeah. It is hard because you're putting your name on a thing and you're going out.
I think they're amazing. Let me stop.
Yep.
They are all really great at what they do. But you mentioned something earlier. You said maybe their job is a moving target. And sometimes the client creates that moving target, or I create it. But the point is,
my guess is it's you
and do it. And
execute. But it's not really true. You're probably creating it, not the client. And your job, if you're the founder of the company, you're operating under that premise, your job is to maybe create an initial system for a thing, teach them how to implement that system. And if you make a change to that system, you got to come back and say, let's make a change to the system. Let me train you on how that needs to happen and why. And you don't want to slow down and do that because you're in your speed mode. I can address a lot of that because I have a lot of the same problems. You know, if I could give you any one piece of advice from the staffing side, find somebody to be a right hand who won't let you talk to the team at all.
I just did that. That was my big change. I was going to.
Yeah, we'll see how long it takes you to fuck them up. Because if you go around,
worry about that every day.
Well, I'll tell you how you can. Let me tell you how you can do it. Talk to the team, take their calls, because they're going to try to go around that person to you because you're the soft touch. They hate how you manage, but they like that they can hide under a lot of rocks with you. And if you got somebody they can't hide under rocks with, they're going to try to go around that person to you. They're awful. They're this, they're that. I just want to tell you what's going on, boss. You don't know what's going on, boss. You can't. It's mommy and daddy you're fighting. And you can't let the kids go to mommy and daddy and work mommy and daddy against one another. There has to be a total authority and trust. And if you don't totally trust that person and you're not willing to give them total authority, you get the wrong person. Because otherwise you'll be in this forever. Now you should go somewhere else and do the deep work that you need to do. I largely don't talk to anybody.
Here's how we do it. Perry gives me this overall vision of what he wants to do. I decide whether or not I'm actually going to do it, if I'm being honest. Sometimes he comes in and he has a great idea today that I know he's going to tell me tomorrow is a bad idea. Here's why we ought not to do it. I want to punch him in the face every time he says that, and I've worked on something. So I usually wait a little bit, and then we kind of revisit it a little bit. Or if I think it's a stupid idea, I pretend like I'm really excited about it. and then start talking about all the resources I'm going to use to do it. And then he'll back out. So that's generally like phase 1 of our brainstorming session. And then phase 2 is, okay, I think that this might have some legs. It might not. Not everything is going to work, but it might have some legs. I want the team to hear from him what the outcome is going to be, what it's going to look like, how it's going to work, because no one's going to relay that and get them excited except for him. Also, no one will deflate all of their confidence and all of their ability like he is. So he then has to go away. And they create it all. And then him and I talk about it. I show it to him. Mostly he gives me the feedback that I'll be like, okay, guys, this is really great. But what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And it becomes, his changes become their ideas. Unless I don't like them, and then I'll just send them the loom. But for the most part, I get on a call with them and I make his changes their ideas. And then he comes on as a phase 2 to kind of wrap it up. Okay, now it's built. How do we make it make money? Now we are capable of doing 25 different newsletters a day. How do we monetize it? Now we're capable of selling tickets, all of the event structure and build out and follow-up sequence and SMS. The whole thing's done. How do we actually pull in the marketing element to make money? How do we bring this to market? Now the ads are ready to run. Let's let them come and critique the funnel process. I really don't let him mess with ads at all because Richard beats everybody all the time. And if Perry had his way, he'd come in and destroy every working ad that's ever been.
But as long as everything's working, I haven't.
No, I know. You said
asked.
we literally what?
I'm banned.
100%. What's the revenue what have you spent? What's the revenue it created? If that looks good, we're just not going to mess with it.
I don't want to know.
All right. And then he comes in also every once in a while. I'll say to him, hey, we're going to meet with the team, and he'll congratulate them. And he does a good job about taking those cues. I'll call him and be like, hey, call Russell and tell Russell.
Unless I tell one of them I'm going to kill him by accident. That was pretty funny.
He thought he was talking. He thought for some reason he thinks I monitor him. He thinks I'm a secretary and a COO and a CMO. And
well, you did make me my coffee.
I didn't make your coffee. You made your coffee this morning. What do you made my coffee? What are you talking about? Anyway, Jeanette. So he gets me so off track. He does a really good job of like following cues.
Everything.
Of following cues when he needs to make sure that our team feels like they're valuable and contributing. And the more they feel like they don't really care what I think. They care about getting things done on time so that they don't have to, deal with that. But they care a lot about what he thinks because he's the visionary, right? And so if he can give them the direction and then he can continue that direction without a ton of critique, and then he can come in. And there have been times that he's wanted to take the websites down because of how they looked. And I've agreed with him, by the way. But it became a standard. And when he talks about that whole, I'm going to sit and do it over the weekend so I can show them all they're idiots, that's actually happened in our business, which is why he ended up having to do everything. We couldn't grow. We couldn't do anything. And finally, he left the monkey on their back. Finally, he said, this isn't right. Let's do it again. This isn't right. Let's do it again. This isn't right. Let's do it again. And eventually they came up with a template he was excited about. And when he got excited, they got excited. And we've iterated and iterated. And mostly, not all the time, but mostly now when he says, I want to do this, this, and this, they know the template that Perry likes so they can pull from it, pull in their ideas, and then he can give constructive feedback. But anytime there's a problem or an issue, that problem or issue leaves with that staff member to correct.
How many written SOPs do you have in your business?
Too many.
Are they real and followed, or are they stuck in a digital file somewhere?
Every weekly, if something changes, I'm like, go update the SOP to this, replace it with this.
But do people actually, when they get ready to go do a process, do they pull down that SOP and follow the process?
No.
But also, what did she just say? Did you hear what she just said?
We change them right
I
now.
know. We should. Maybe it's not weekly, but it's something changed.
She said, "I weekly tell them
weekly
change this."
Exaggeration, and
even if it's
meaning to exaggerate, but it's probably once or twice a month.
Even if it's once a month, what sounds better to you that you're going to want to use? Hey, Perry, how do you think that we can do this more efficiently? Here are my ideas. Oh, I hear your ideas. Let's go update this. Or go change this again. Go change this again.
Yeah.
I can't win for losing.
and people don't go back and retrain on those SOPs so they probably see them. I can't believe
You see him as a moving target.
I can't believe how much money and time I spent in SOPs. I stopped making SOPs because it didn't matter.
We have an entire thing.
We SOP'd everything up the wazoo, one side and the other for years in my businesses, and people didn't follow the SOPs largely because there might be 5 sets of SOPs on a given thing. So which one do I follow? So they didn't follow any. So
we have a very organized structure of how we do SOPs now. There are SOPs. People do follow them. We look at them every 6 months, not every month. I've empowered my team to, when they're pulling out the SOP, and they follow it, if they're pull out the SOP and Suck is like, wow, Perry added Twilio to Springboard. We should change this to match Twilio because it makes sense for us to be on brand and on integrity to what we're teaching our people. He has the opportunity to submit a request to make a fundamental change like that. But if it's a small change over efficiency, go ahead and do it. Like, there's no reason. And then he trains the people who are doing that at the time. But this the need for control, well, I get it because my business is also my face. Shockwave is also my face. Every time Richard tells Perry, I'm going to have this by this date, he's going to come back and say, you said you were going to have it by this date. And that just is. So I get that. But you can't scale and you can't grow and you'll never have peace if you don't start letting go.
And you're creating the SOPs, right?
She's telling them what to put in it.
It's a new process that we,
Where do I stick this? Where do I stick this?
For a long time.
We're
not doing a bunch of different shit every.
Where do I stick this change?
It might be like.
But where do I stick this change in the SOP?
Recognize we're doing wrong, and I'm like, okay, we gotta edit that process a little bit to do what the market's asking us to do right now.
Yeah, you might do that once a quarter, get together and look at once a quarter, open up the SOPs in a meeting and say, how can we make this process better? And you get buy-in. It doesn't sound like you're ever getting buy-in. It's a top-down, go do this, don't ask me why kind of thing. Because I'm your mother, that's why. That's kind of the way that works.
It's literally Ian Jack's mother, because I'm your mother.
So beyond the staff issue, I'll tell you one real quick thing I try to keep in mind is I read this thing about MacArthur that I found was really fascinating. When he was supposedly the most effective general who's ever been in the military. And MacArthur would say, hey, on Tuesday, he would bring in his 3 best engineers and he'd say, on Tuesday, I need all these tanks on the other side of the river. And they'd say, oh, so you want us to build you a bridge? On Tuesday, I need all these tanks on the other side of the river. Well, you want us to pick them up with a helicopter and take them over? On Tuesday, I need all these tanks on the other side of the river. He didn't care about the how. He gave his team the objective. They were the engineers, right? So if you can give your ops person a person that you can quickly explain a concept to that will understand it, and they can go create the procedures to execute on that vision. Yes or no?
No.
Then you don't have one. You don't have an ops person.
Right. I don't have an ops.
You got somebody. You got somebody you promote. You got
fine, and that's what I just hired. Is this person that's shadowing me right now?
Well, I'm saying you got somebody now. So So if they're not a person that you can feel confident in their ability to do that, then you're spinning your wheels. You don't have anybody, right? And you might take them a while to get them to speed, but I don't know. And Emma could probably tell you better how you can test that person earlier to find out if they'll ever be the person to do that. Because if they're not grasping the small concepts, they're not going to grasp the big ones. But you're going to have to invest a lot of time. Emma came to my house.
I'm here all day. This person's sitting right next to me.
Emma came to my house. I came to her house. We spent days on end of just me explaining the arching long-term objective. What's the vision in my head, and what parts of it?
A lot of it was me learning how he thinks. The vision wasn't hard. It was learning how he thinks, because that was a tough nut to crack. But
because I'm so brilliant,
it wasn't that hard for me to understand.
Thinking.
It wasn't.
She gets that soap opera style thinking, but
the thing that I
operate at a higher level is she's not used to being even in the room with that level of intellect. I had to talk really slowly. I'd use a lot of really small words, but eventually I was able.
Hillbilly like you.
I was able to get him through.
But it was more about my ability to learn how he thinks, not learn when this happens, you do this. When this happens, you do that. It was not only to learn how he thinks, but also learn how to fight with him and learn how to challenge him. Because that's a big part.
Will your person push back on you if they disagree with you?
The new person?
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't say that with the greatest. You didn't.
Already started.
You don't say that with the greatest degree of. Yeah, but you got to respect them enough. You got to respect their ability enough to be willing to fight and still not
be upset. We had a big fight this morning on his drive over here.
Yeah, because she was wrong and I was right. And finally, by the time I got here, she realized that she was wrong and I was right and everything was okay.
No, I actually right in front of him told the guy that's working for us to do it both ways and let's see how it goes. I think the thing that we're both very willing, and I think this advice really might help you because you're way too much of a control freak and you've been your own problem since the day I met you and you keep coming with the same problem, but you refuse to take the advice. But I think the thing that him and I have that would work for you if you could get this with her is when I tell him I really don't think something's a good idea, I'm always willing to try his idea, even if it's, as long as he listens to me and he understands what I think the repercussions are going to be for him. If he hears that, okay, fine. But he's also very willing to be wrong and take my ideas and test those against his. Because at the end of the day, he's not wrong if my idea worked. I'm not wrong if his idea worked. The company did okay because an idea worked. Yeah. And everybody's committed to the best idea for the business. No one needs to be right. No one. We fuck with each other all the time, and I'm like, mostly I'm right. But at the end of the day, everything was his idea because he flipped the bill for all of it. So it doesn't matter. He gets what he needs. I get what I need, and neither of us have any ego about being right.
Yeah,
we both have fear about being wrong and what it means for the cleanup of the business. But neither of us care about. There's one thing that he wants to do with the event. I won't say what it is because I don't want people to know. But there's one thing that he wants to do with the event I do not want to do. I feel like it's going to cause a massive issue.
And she's willing to do it mostly because she wants to later say, "See, I told you."
That's not true. That's not true. The reason why I'm willing to do it is because it's worked for him for a lot of years. So why I've never done it before. I've only seen it happen at other people's events and how awful it can be. So let's try it his way, and then let's take the two ways and see which one worked better. Again, if his way worked, I win. If my way worked, I win because either way, we found the best way to do the event.
So,
right?
Jeanette, is your business shrinking or growing or flat?
Flat.
Is that true? Hold on. Is that true? Because that didn't seem like a confident answer.
It's flat. I mean, it's flat. It's like, in the past 12 months,
it's the same revenue as it was this time last year.
I had clients. I was growing, and then they're gone for whatever reason, and I'm back.
Let's talk about for whatever reason. Why do you think they're gone?
Lack of understanding of how I was going to get paid with one of them, even though I had an ironclad contract. Our conversation about how I was going to get paid, and when it came time to pay me,
they weren't happy. They weren't happy enough to pay you whatever you wanted. Yeah.
Are the clients having problems?
No, I proved nothing but growth for the two that I lost. One I many years ago, and we just didn't work out this time for the exact same reasons we didn't work out then.
And what were those reasons?
Him not wanting to do the model that I said is the only model I know how to make money with what you do.
So why did you take him on then?
And then we get in there and we make money for 6 months, great money, and he's like, "Well, I don't want to do that anymore."
Why did you take him on? He was agreeable to do it initially and then not agreeable and
all day agreeable. It took him 6 months to convince me to work for him.
Yeah. So
then I did.
Yeah.
And that happened.
Client selection is a big deal. Do you have, is it difficult for you to get additional clients or no?
Yes, because they don't want to pay. The people it's crazy the amount of people that are in my world that, that are not making near the money they should be making because they have no process and no plan for their leaves or they have no funnel, no ascension, no nothing. And
what do you say?
With guys I had for 30 days, I tripled their revenue in 30 days.
What do you say?
Because of the miscommunication on the contract, it Yeah, it was a handshake walk away.
Would you ever walk away from someone who tripled your revenue?
That seems, it doesn't ring true unless
Let him talk.
it doesn't ring true unless that revenue was costing me more than the growth of the revenue somehow. It seems very bizarre that would be true. I'm not saying you're lying, by the way. Don't think.
We just think there's something more.
Conversation about where they wanted their birth to be also in a certain part of the world with live events, and they would need to do part of the marketing for that, but not pay for that. There were things that happened in the 30-day time frame that were clearly going to have to.
Someone tripled their revenue in 30 days. I'm never leaving.
There's client selection is really super important if you're in the agency space, and I don't like that space for that very reason. But are you asking for a percentage of revenues as well?
Oh
yeah,
yes,
that's why.
Yes,
that's why I stopped doing it. That's why I stopped doing it.
That's not a sustainable model.
Mm-mm.
It never ever works.
They're always going to want to get rid of you. They're always going to want to get rid of you. Always.
You're building in an incentive to get rid of you.
Right. And then what you're creating is an issue of them trying to hide how much they made on top of it.
Yeah.
It creates a huge problem.
They don't like you in their books.
It's an unpopular opinion, but me and my business partner Travis have thought about this for 5 years now. But anytime in my history, anytime we've worked with a client that I've made them a lot of money, that they were going to have to pay me a lot of money, even though they were paying me far less.
Shit's the best.
So they were paying me, and they made 10 times more than they would have made without me after paying me. They still didn't want to keep me on. They still wanted to fuck me onto that small little piece. It just is.
You know who told
the
me,
model's wrong.
You know who told me? You know who told me that model would never work? The person who invented the model, Jay Abraham. Jay Abraham fundamentally invented that model as a marketer. He was a marketing for RevShare guy, right? And they did a lot of these deals. The vast majority of them ended in court. They ended in a broken agreement. They ended in turmoil. And for no reasons. Let me explain what I would defies you, right? And I had this conversation with somebody who finally, you know who it is. I won't say their name, but they finally adopted the correct model. They're a media buying agency. And media buying agencies are all the same. They're like, I want this much flat because I want to be guaranteed mine.
Right.
You take all the risk, but I want to be guaranteed mine. And if I lose, sorry, you lost your money. If I win, it's like, hey, I'm going to go to the horse track tomorrow. Give me $100. I'll come back and tell you if you won or not, right? Nobody's going to take that bet, but that's what they're asking people to.
But I'm only betting 50 and I'm keeping 50.
So if they lose, so the media company goes out and says, I've sat down with this person. I said, listen, what are you doing? He said, well, this is our fee. I said, you got to get rid of that fee. He said, I can't. I've got one of my clients right now. They're spending $100,000 a month. I make $15,000 a month on that one client. And pretty soon they're going to be doing $1 million a month. And I'm going to make $150,000 a month from that one client. So I can't change it. Do you really fucking think, are you so thick in the fucking head that you believe for a skinny minute that person's going to pay you $150,000 a month when they could go rebuild your entire company, staff, everybody for a fraction of that? It's not going to happen.
You just taught them how to do what they need to do. And even though they probably can't do it, and even though they probably cannot do it, they will fuck it all up. But you still,
in spite of themselves,
right? You still are not going to get.
They'll cut off their own nose.
It's the model. Right. It's the model.
So here's what I would say.
Can I go first because you can end? Yeah. So he's going to probably disagree with me because he just likes to. I think that even if he did agree with me, he would just disagree with me and be an asshole. But if I were you, I would have a flat fee. And there's a difference between a RevShare and a performance bonus, a tiered system. We charge monthly. We charge a lower bar. And this is how I always say it, not that I'm charging less. We charge a lower bar until we can get you to this level. And then once we get you to this level, because the work becomes more and because we've gotten you there, then we become this dollar amount. And when they have an ascension, they feel more comfortable about handing you the cash up front, number one. Number two, it's just different than a RevShare because there's a stop to it. If you take someone, I took a company one time from $15 million to $100 million in 2 years. And you'd think that would have,
They did it all.
you'd think that, and on top of that, they were working 60 hours a week. They went from working 60 hours a week to working 10 hours a month filming. They were completely out of the business. When they were asked what products they had, they only knew the original products. They didn't even know about all the products we launched. When they were asked about how they were doing selling in places like South Africa and the United Kingdom, they told the interviewer that they weren't, even though that was the majority of our business at that point because we had expanded. They had no idea how their business worked. And there was a point that A, they were really pissed off about the amount of money that they were going to have to pay me for that. And B, they weren't getting the credit anymore. It wasn't because of them anymore. So you just, if you can take those two things, you got to be in the background. It's got to be all them all the time. One. And two, you get yours through a set fee that they don't feel like they're being taken advantage of, because even though you're not, by the way, that's how they feel. Because now, no matter what, once you start making $150,000 a month on somebody, you are not worth that in their mind.
Well, and you're going to get, it doesn't matter even if they think you're worth it.
Right.
They can they're going to have a controller or a COO or a CFO or a board.
Somebody
who's going to
mentor. If you went to Perry and you said, "Oh yeah, I'm paying this so and
They're
so
going to redline the shit out of that.
$150,000 a month, but they made me $1 million," Perry's going to be like, "Why aren't you doing that? Why would you be paying?"
But
that?
listen to this just
and then if I was you,
the mental model of this for a second,
mm-hmm.
and then defies you. And I'll tell you exactly what I told them. The mental model of this is, okay, I'm going to take you on for, I'm going to make up a number. I'm going to take you on for $5,000 a month, and I want 10% of the gross. Let's just say that's the number. And I have no idea what you charge people, but let's say that's the thing. I want 5% and 10% of gross. So the guy goes, okay, that sounds good. Sign me up, right? So the first month out of the shoot, you gross $100,000, and now he's paying you 10. Okay? The 10 is not the pain point. He's convinced now he's going to do $1 million in 3 months, in 3 more months. And he's already trying to figure out, how do I get rid of this bitch? Because if I don't, in 3 months, I'm going to have to pay her $100,000. I don't know how many people I know that stop working because they're in the middle of a divorce. Because I'm in a divorce, I don't want to make any more money right now because I'm just going to have to give that bitch more money. So I'll make myself poor rather than share the upside. So mentally, you can't not think of it that way. You can't. Now, let's flip the script the other way. Jeanette is $20,000 a month, flat fee. If I make $1 billion, right? She's still 20, right? Now what have I got? It's completely inverse, right? Now, yeah, it sucks, but boy, I got a big upside. When I get to 200,000, I'm paying her at 20,000. I'm paying her 20% of my revenue. But when I get to 200,000, I'm only paying her 10%. When I get to 500,000, hell, I'm paying her 2-3%. Who gives a shit? You follow? So they don't care. Yes. It's the mentality. They're always going to imagine making a lot more money than they likely will. Number one, right? They're always going to imagine the upside being colossal. And if the more colossal you make the upside and the faster you're getting them there, the quicker that mindset hits them and the quicker they start making plans to do away with you because you're a variable cost. I'll tell you something that Emma did early on. She probably, I don't know if she knows this or not, but I think you said the other day, I've been with them a long time. We're 2 years in now?
Almost 3.
Almost 3. A long time. And she's fucking bloody expensive. I'll be honest with you, bloody expensive.
I don't think I'm near enough.
But it was interesting. So we started, and she said, "You're going to be this much," and it was a toad choking amount of money for where I was economically from a net revenue standpoint. It was a leap of faith to write that check, right? And we did it, and we are a spaghetti bowl of a fucked up mess, as bad as anybody's, right? And 3 months in, she said, okay, we're through the worst part. I'm going to reduce your bill by X dollars. So from now on, you're going to pay this lower amount instead of the amount you've been paying without me asking. And that probably bought at least an extra year of good faith, right? So I think what I told,
I'm very fair on my pricing.
yeah, I think very fair. So what happened? So what happened was you got to remind people they're not just hiring you; they're hiring a team of people,
Right.
right? And
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
and so what I told the media buyer was this: I said, look, let's pull your numbers and show me all your clients that are exceeding their base minimum in overages in your percentages. 5% of the clients. 5% of the clients exceeded the base minimum. But the base minimum was artificially low because, well, I'm going to give you this low minimum and then I'm going to make it up when you hit the ball out of the park, right? I said, why don't you do this instead? So we just averaged out. I'm going to try to remember the numbers, but I think they were like $5,000. And then they had a handful of customers that went over, and their average billing over almost 100 clients or so was like $11,000 a month. I said, why don't you just charge $10,000 a month flat for everybody? You'll eliminate the little pain in the ass customers that never hit the minimum anyway. And your people, once they go past the threshold of the way everybody else is charging, and you're only charging them 10 when somebody else, you're never going to lose a client. Because the client goes to the next media buying agency and says, they say, well, I hate my media buyer. I want to switch to you. They say, oh, really? How much you spending? Oh, $300,000 a month. Cool. We'll take you on for $45,000 a month. Well, hell, now the guy charging the 10 looks like he's the greatest person in the world. You're rearranging the economic position, and you'll keep clients. I promise you a whole lot longer. Because you can keep a girlfriend a long time. Right? Girlfriend can stay around a long time. If you make a lot of money, you got a girlfriend, life is great. If you make a lot of money, you got a mean ass wife, life sucks. Because you're already calculating in your head how much of that money you're making you're going to have to give this bitch when you finally get out from under that rock. Or husband. You know, a lot of times women are making more money than men today. Either way, you're automatically calculating in the back of your head how you're going to get out of this thing. And in the interim, guess what else you're thinking about? How you're going to hide how much fucking money you're making right now. Right?
True. Yes.
So they're going to hide from you, cheat you, steal from you, and eventually leave you under that model.
And take all my secrets and processes and use them.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they?
Exactly.
There's no reason for them not to.
Even if they paid me a monthly, it's still a risk.
Yeah, of course. But there's still secret sauce to the secret sauce, right? They don't know where to pivot. They know how to do.
The thing is that they're going to steal, and I'm
Doesn't
sorry,
matter.
I'm well versed in this. They're going to steal all those sales. They steal from me. They can't fucking do what you do.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to do it. They don't understand the nuances. They only see the big picture. They think that they've got the dots connected. They don't. It won't be profitable. It'll be complete less. Let stupid be stupid and move on.
I always tell them, I taught you everything that you know, but I didn't teach you everything that I know.
That's a good one.
And that's a fact right there,
That's a
right?
good one.
Nobody ever knows everything.
All right, Perry, bring us something.
So anyway, from that perspective, as far as the clients go, I think, because you already got 2 clients, recent clients you've lost quickly, I think that maybe you should say that model doesn't work anymore. You probably got to have some reticence to that because you probably got people under that contract now, yes?
Yeah, so to go back to that client loss, one was only 30 days. When it came time to write the check, that's where the first check, that's where it was like, uh-oh.
You didn't get a check when they came
It
on?
was with me for a solid year. I did it for a year. I danced with that guy for a year.
You didn't get a check when they came on?
No.
Why? Why in the world would you ever work for a person that didn't pay you? I
don't do that.
I got some work I'll let you do too.
I don't-
Much of it.
I'm confused by that too. I don't ever. We
Oh,
don't
yeah.
do. We don't let. I won't even send the Google form for you to fill out for onboarding until you pay me.
Yeah.
Because then you set up the expectation.
Up front, those people, that was like a shift in the model. Because usually it has been percentage, but I did ask for.
I would just think about what's the average value of the client that you've had over the years. What's the average client value? If you took, I'd go back and look because yours is up and down. I know, and you get some home run hitters every now and then or whatever. They stay around a minute and they go away. And you have one problem is we can't talk about it. The pond you're fishing in is a incestuous, funky, skeezy pond of maniacal people who are smart, who think they're smarter than they really are because they made some money in the stock market one day. That I understand that. That's already a challenge. And your market is getting harder and harder to market to. And there'll always be people seeking it. I get that too. But really, I would look at, say, over a 3-year period, what was my average amount of money I made per client per month? And then I would set my fixed billing somewhere in that neighborhood. And it's going to be more than the minimum you're charging now because you're thinking about the upside you're going to make, right? You're thinking about the upside you're going to make. They're thinking about the downside they're going to get. They don't think of the upside. Nobody ever does.
The other thing that you have to remember is if you can keep your clients on long term, that every month that goes by, unless they're Perry, who comes up with a new idea to execute every week,
Becomes easier and easier, right?
it becomes easier. The Perry really doesn't become easier because it's like, hey, we're going to launch 15 new companies this year. And it's just, you have tons of stuff to figure out.
But I'm the most fun.
If it's that, let me get to the point. If it's that type of client, this won't be true. But for most clients, every month gets easier to a point where it's just maintenance. And so you charged a lot on that front end. And I did charge Perry less. I don't generally do that. One of the reasons why I did do that is there were some people in some other businesses that were working in those businesses that I didn't want to work with. So I just didn't want to touch those businesses. And I was like, this is
the
just
front
easier.
end of our stuff was super ugly too. You know, we had a lot to fix.
Right.
Operationally, we had a lot to fix.
Because he had so many SOPs, he no longer had SOPs. It was just a whole thing. But when you charge a specific amount of money, as time goes on, those clients become more and more profitable because it takes less and less of your time, less and less of your team's time. Because the more you know, the more you know. So once you've seen it all, you just, respond rather than react. And then it just makes everything super easy. You can plan better. So you want those long-term clients. So taking a little less of a snuff over here will make you a lot more money that you keep over here.
My guess, you're going to get 2 to 3 times the retention out of those clients on a flat fee versus.
If not more. If you do well for people, honestly, and they feel like the money's well spent, and it doesn't matter if the money's well spent. That's the important part. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Don't argue that. If they feel like the money's well spent, they will stay with you indefinitely. They will not leave. And clients like you have, clients like I have, 3 years. And my average is probably about 3 years. And that's really because I get bored. If I had nothing but Perry Belchers that were trying to do stuff all the time, I'd never leave. I'd just stay forever. So I'm just saying, retention's going to be key.
The longer they stay around, the more you grow them, the lower percentage of your gross revenue that you become.
Right.
And that's the sweet spot.
Right.
You just got to get over your greed factor of that to say, I'd rather you look at your overhead to operate your business. If it takes $5,000-$10,000 clients a month to operate your business profitably.
That's what you charge at first, and you slowly go up until you stop getting clients, and then you go back down and you hold there. Yeah. That's what we did.
And being high priced makes you more desirable. You're the difference in a hooker and a call girl is just price.
Well, there's other little things involved, like bumps and clothes. But all right, take us out.
Yeah. All right. Did that help?
It did. And just one more time, like my core clients, I've had 10 years.
That's great. Get more of those.
That's the goal.
Yeah, get more of those. So if you get that flat fee, you'll probably be able to take more on. You'll have more confidence. Get your team to the point where you get yourself an Emma. Don't get Emma because God help you, but get yourself an Emma to drive your train, and I think it'll help you a lot. Every time I've been successful, last thing, every time I've been successful in my life, really successful, I've had a hammer to my right hand. I've had somebody on my right hand that could be the hammer. Every time I've been wildly successful in my life, every single time. I've never been very successful without one because it doesn't free up your time to be creative and go do the things that you need to do to grow the business. So, all right. Take care, honey. Thank you so much. Thanks for being on the Trainwreck podcast. If you want to be on the Trainwreck Show, go to trainwreckshow.com. Look down the bottom somewhere there or around or at the top, the left, the right, somewhere. There'll be a place where you can submit to be on Unfuck Your Business. And maybe you can be the next victim that we have in front of us. Thanks, Emma, for being here today, even though we're in your house. And I guess you should thank me for being here because I've graced you with my presence. All righty, then. Sure was great to have you guys today. Hope to talk soon. See you on the next episode of The Trainwreck Show. Bye.